discount. This is like 25 seconds.
What'd you do to fix a crack?
Just goes on and on.
Scary crack.
Down the hallway, into the next bedroom.
So did you jackhammer it up and lay new concrete? What'd you do?
No, if the slab has a height differential, then you jackhammer it up. In fact, if you stay later, I'll show you the picture I got on my phone of the garage where we just cut out a swath where that was before it. On these type, you actually inject epoxy through the crack, and it doesn't cost that much to fix it. We just didn't know what else we were going to find, so we got the highest estimate possible. But this is really an epoxy fix. If it's side by side and it's a crack, if it's too far apart and it's still level, then they put the little pieces of rebar across the crack. So there's 3 ways they fix it, and we found that out my contractor knows how to do this because that's his deal, but just by getting the bids from the contractors that do specialize in crack slabs, you find all that out. Now what I'd like to do, they went on and on about the clay in this area, and now I know there's a stream down the street. I want to just find other houses in this area that are for sale and find the crack slab and get my discount. Because it's a geological area where there's a stream there, and it's been flooded for the last thousands of years before we decided to put houses there. So of course there's a lot of clay in the soil. So find areas that have a problem and we can go after those houses.
You were going to tell us the difference between a contractor and an inspector.
I think that's coming up in the rehabbing section.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we've gone through the 2 topics, wholesaling, who funds the deal, and then this is going to be some of the rehabbing that I've done. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about what to do and what not to do. It really depends on if you know your market. So each market is going to have, in each price point in that market is going to have a different thing that you do to rehab that home. Contractors and inspectors, here's your question. When I first started doing rehab, I just had my contractors go through and tell me what it would cost to fix it up. And I thought, why get a house inspection? That's because if you're going to live there, you want to make sure that everything works. But my contractor must know that. So are there any contractors in the room? Yes. You probably know the answer to this. Inspectors are paid a fee to go look at that property, so they'll spend a lot of time poking around. Not a lot, but they're allotted 2 hours. And they'll go up in the attic and crawl around and do things because that's what they're paid to do. The contractor is going to spend 15 minutes on the bid so that he can get paid later. And he's maybe not going to find everything that's wrong with that house. So in some cases, it's better to pay the inspector to find those things and then also get the bids from the contractor. In this case, I'm partnering with a contractor on this deal. He started out pouring tilt-up buildings, so concrete is his thing. So that's why this one's going to work for us. But that's the difference between the contractor and the inspectors. The inspector's getting paid to find everything. And a contractor and an inspector cannot work on the same house within a 6-month period. So if you inspect it and say there's all this stuff wrong with it, you can't then go become the contractor to fix those problems. You have to have a 6-month waiting period. Or else you'll lose your license as an inspector.
I know somebody here in town who's both an inspector and a contractor.
They are, but they can't work on the same house within 6 months. If he inspects it, his inspector's license forbids him to fix that house within 6 months.
Oh, sorry.
He can do it later, but
Do you ever go as far as doing a camera on the plumbing line right up to the sewer?
that is a really good idea because I've had to pay Roto-Rooter to dig up, after I buy it, to dig out the pipe all the way to the street or to use the camera and find tree roots, things like that. I didn't do that in this house, but stuff they could do.
And once you're going into the street, it's not the city's responsibility. You still have to pave it and you have to do everything all the way up to the sewer, right?
All the way to the street.
To the connection to the sewer.
The one I did on my Detroit house was the actual sewer line was in the backyard. It's running through the backyards and not in the street. So it was just grass. We didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, those cameras are really
Cheap?
a lifesaver.
They're not that expensive.
It's cheap insurance.
Yeah.
It's really the best way to put it. Okay, just a little cartoon. You see the neighborhood is really trashy, they've got one house. If this doesn't work, I'm out of ideas. So try to find something in a good neighborhood that you've got the worst house in the neighborhood instead of the best house. I found the cartoon, it just fit with rehabbing so well. Okay, I'm going to talk about inside and then outside. So what to do inside? Every time you're always going to do paint. I like to tile the kitchen and the bathroom. Should you do carpet or laminate flooring? We'll talk about that. Kitchen cabinets, or do I replace the cabinets or do I just do the doors? And I'll talk a little bit about the refacing and the pros and cons of that. And then what do you do with the countertops? So this is all about the kitchen. Consider the selling price, the neighborhood, and your exit strategy. I love indestructible. Indestructible is great for buyers as well as renters. It's definitely good for renters because that's your money continually repairing the property. I really don't like particle board, and that's what's underneath all these countertops because it just gets wet, crumbles. Tile and laminate or hardwood does last longer, and there's fewer upkeep costs than carpet. I like broom swept clean. My condo in Hawaii that I rented out for 20 years, we finally put tile in, and all we had to do was sweep it when we got a new tenant. When you have carpet, you've got a 2-day lag while you're cleaning it and waiting for it to dry. And sometimes we did get in a 2% vacancy rate. We were getting tenants the next day. So I love it to just sweep it out with tile. All right, so the kitchen is the woman's workshop. I try to explain that to the guys because they want the garage to be all cool and have a bench. Well, this is the woman's workshop. She has to be in there every day doing her thing if she is the cook. But guys like to cook too. So, and this was a condo I had in Hawaii for a very long time. In the end, when we sold it, we didn't rehab it until we sold it. So we painted the cabinets because it was going to cost us a lot to put in new ones. And it's a 520 square foot condo. So we put in a new stove, new sink, nice faucet, always do a nice faucet. And I tiled the countertops. And that was just standard for that type of unit. I think we sold it for something like $265 in that range. When we tile the countertops, you have a plywood base, and then you definitely waterproof it. It's definitely treated. I have had contractors skip that part, and then I had to re-tile it because the water goes down into the cracks. The 4-inch ceramic tile. Another trick you should know is that Home Depot has different items stocked in different markets. So I could go into my California Home Depot and tell my contractor in the Midwest, I want this tile, this tile, this tile. And I say, we don't have that at all. What are you talking about? Because we have like Mexican colors like blue and cobalt blue and orange, and they don't have that at all. So I learned what they don't have. They also sometimes don't have those granite squares, 12-inch squares that here is common for us to have. And then we always do a backsplash up against the counter. Cabinets, this is a little bit dark, but we took out this whole upper cabinet to open up the space. Consider granite tile because it is fairly cheap. It's at $3 a square foot. Think, well, I have a granite countertop, and you just do the really thin grout lines and put in the new sink, and they, granite. This I bought for around $50,000, and it was worth $100 when we were done. I always put solid granite if it's a $200,000 house or above. So, of course, in some condo conversions, you have solid granite as well. Cabinets. Talk a little bit about that. Tile board, 4x8 sheets. It looks like tile, but it's really just a hardboard tile. So for all the walls in our kitchens, if I keep them as a rental, and in the bathrooms, we put up this tile board. It's just easy to wipe down and clean when people leave, and it's way cheaper than just tiling the whole thing. So we do that. We tile the kitchen floors. We tile the bathrooms. We use the same tile in both. Just the cheap 12-inch square tile. It's less than $1 a square foot. New or reface. On this particular house, this is the first time, and the last time I'll ever do it, we resurfaced the countertops. The labor it took for my contractor to cut all this laminate and put it on and glue it was probably the same as if I just bought the new cabinets. I would never do it again. The only other thing you can do is if you have really solid ones, is just buy new drawers and do it that way. But that resurfacing with cutting all these little pieces, it's not really worth it. Here's another kitchen where we just totally painted the cabinets. do is, usually the older homes have a wall oven and a cooktop. They each cost over $500 by themselves. But an oven, a standalone oven, is often under $500 because they make so many of them. So take out both of those appliances and put in one. It gives you more, so here we took out the wall oven and we ended up making cabinet doors there. So we had a bigger cabinet and we put a standalone oven. So that's something I always do when those appliances are old. Now know the standard in your market. In this, I think this is the house, yeah, in this house I put in an oven because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. I found out that ovens are not expected. The tenant brings their own oven. Not just the fridge, but they bring the oven. The reason is because tenants steal the oven, and so then the landlords gave up and they don't put them in, and now tenants just assume they have to have their own.
Right.
It's just a totally strange
Where
market.
is that?
And,
It's in Detroit.
and
Yeah,
air
it's pretty
I'm
conditioners.
sure in Ohio it's the same way too.
That's pretty common.
And air conditioners. They take the air
They take
conditioner
the AC.
outside and it's gone. And of course,
I found out from Section 8, Section 8 said, well, you have to repair the air conditioner when it's broken. And then the compressor got stolen, I think, by my tenant's friends. And then the Section 8 inspector says, well, if the compressor's not there, you don't have to fix it. If it was there, you'd have to pay for a new one. But since it's gone, you don't have to do
you
anything.
just rent it without air conditioning.
Right. But if it was there, I'd have to get a new one, which was going to be $2,000.
On these properties that you're rehabbing, especially Detroit and other areas, have you ever purchased a property that was condemned by the city and had to go through the city's inspection process to make sure everything was done by what the city wanted?
The city does have its own inspection. It's not usually condemned, but the city inspectors want to come and make sure it passes a code, and you pay for some kind of license every year for them to inspect.
Well, yeah, if you're just doing a if it hadn't been for, how can I say it, set up for, not for close, but for demolition or whatever.
Oh, no, I haven't done those.
Okay, yeah.
I got 2 buildings that are like that.
Major nightmare.
Yeah,
Because then now they're going through everything that they want done. Yeah.
they might as well demolish. Well, that's kind of what the cooktop looks like, and I went through that before. Pay a little more and get the stoves with the timers. The new trick now is you can get appliances on Craigslist, because people in high-end homes will come in, even though the appliances are brand new, they say, I don't like Maytag, I'm getting a Viking. And they sell all the stuff on Craigslist. So even for our remodels, we're getting steel appliances on Craigslist for less than $2,000 for all the appliances in the kitchen, and putting them in the $200,000 remodels. Pacific Sales, I don't know if you guys have it up here, but they always have good floor models and vents. And I always get the microwave installed, like Sears will actually bring it, install it, and hook it up for you for $29 or something. So that's a cheap way to do it. Another kitchen where we that's with everything stripped off. We painted the cabinets, put in tile and a new sink.
How are you stripping the doors and stuff? You take it to a
those-
shop?
No, those are just painted on site. I don't think they didn't have varnish on them.
I've not heard you mention Corian. Is Corian completely passe?
Too expensive.
I have a townhouse in Poway that has Corian. What happens is Corian and all these hard surfaces, there's another one, quartz one now, they're the same price as granite. And it's really what the market, people look at it and they go, Corian, that's manufactured. I want granite, and it's the same price per square foot, $40 or $42 a square foot. So to get it rented or get it sold as quickly as possible, you have to go with what people want. So I kind of skipped the Corian. It was put in by builders, I think, because they got a cut rate on it. On these, if I find houses where the cabinets are good, I just put in new. This is before and after, same thing before and after. I put in the towel board, better than that laminate stuff, and just tile the cabinet off. Keep the cabinets. Okay, one or two slides on bathrooms. I like to tile the floors. We always put in a new high-efficiency toilet that has low flush, and often reglaze the tub. You can hire people to reglaze the tub rather than taking it out. Always check when someone's tiling the floor that the toilet's been removed. It takes a couple days to let the mortar dry and regrout it. On some of the rehabs that I wasn't supervising myself, I hired a manager to do it. A year or two later, they'd say, well, we have to replace the toilet, and we can't find one that fits. And I said, what do you mean fits? It just fits over the hole. And they took the toilet